Hi. Last video we went over a brief idea of like what exactly is an inequality. Also, we talked about how to go from an inequality and place it onto a number line. Today we're going to go a step further, and this is actually solving an inequality. So when you have an expression, so our first example is x plus 7 is less than negative 10. When you have something like that, how do you solve it and how do you graph it? Well, the solving is basically the same as an equation. We're going to do a balance line, and then we're going to do the opposite operation, the inverse operation, or we'll add the opposite, or we'll multiply by the reciprocal, or whatever we have to do, just like we normally would on an equation. The extra step upon this is graphing all the possible answers, because there's more than one answer to add to 7 that's less than negative 10. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. So right now, we're just going to solve it like we normally would. I'm going to draw a balance line, and notice I'm drawing my balance line behind the inequality just so it doesn't look too cluttered. Also, I don't want to put my balance line through the inequality because that means something else in math, and we don't want to. That means not less than, and we're not going to do that. I'm going to rewrite as I always do. Now I'm going to say this. Well, either you can subtract 7 or you can add negative 7. It's up to you, just like always, because it's the same thing. It's the same as with a regular equation. Nothing's different. So I'm going to add negative 7 to both sides. This equals 0. So x is less than negative 17. Now, it's not just one number. It's all the numbers. X is all the numbers that are less than negative 17. So now we graph it, and this is where the main part of. And we have to graph it before we can do the check, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Well, to graph it, I need to know this. First off, this is my focus number. Negative 17 is the number I am focusing on. So looking at it like that, I'm going to focus on negative 17. I always ask that you do 2 numbers to the right-hand side and 2 numbers to the left-hand side. And they don't have to be right next to it. Another thing I want, you have to have arrows on your number line, because the number line goes on forever. It doesn't ever stop. So you have to have arrows on it. So number line, tick marks that are evenly spaced out for ruler, numbers that are placed correctly, and arrows. There's one extra thing, and this will help you when plugging in your solutions. It's usually a good idea to put wherever you think 0 is. 0 is always, when you're in negatives, it's always this way. So eventually 0 would be somewhere over here. And it doesn't have to be exactly on there. It could be wherever. But 0 does need to be on there, just so I have an idea of where the positives are. Or 0. I just want to know where 0 is at. So, first off, it's less than. This is going back to the video from last night. Now we're ignoring all this, so we're just looking at this right now. It's just less than. It's not equal to. So since it's not equal to, it is an open circle because negative 17 is not part of the answers. Now, if I plug 0 in, is 0 less than a negative? Are positives that are over here, positives that are further over in this area, are positives less than a negative? So don't go that way. You should be going this way towards the other negatives. Keep going negative. So, we're going that way. Now comes the part of the check. When you do your check, you need to choose one of the numbers that's over here in the area you shaded. So today I'll choose negative 19. And I'm checking, I'm plugging it in for x at the very beginning. Negative 19 plus 7. Is it really less than negative 10? That's what we're checking. Well, when I do this, I have negative 12 and negative 10. And I'm asking if that's true. Now you can choose any number over here. It doesn't have to be 19, negative 19. It could be whatever you want. Is negative 12 less than negative 10? Oh yeah. This is negative 12 means you owe more money. That's worse. That's less than. So we are good. So the check is a little different now. A little tip about the check anytime you can use 0, I use 0 whenever I get a chance to, if I'm allowed to. When it's like this, 0 was not in the shaded area. 0 is over here. I've got to choose a number that's in the shaded area to do my check though. Okay, example number 2. This is our last example. There are only 2 examples on this one. 9 is greater than or equal to m minus 3.6. Okay, well, I'm going to do my balance line. And again, I'm going to do my balance line. I don't want to do it through to inequality because that looks really sloppy. So 9 less than or equal to m plus negative, and add the opposite of 3.6. Well, the opposite of negative 3.6 is positive 3.6. So I'm going to add 3.6 to both sides. Oh, for some reason I changed that into a 9. Don't do that. And whatever I do on one side, gotta do to the other. Well, this is 0. So m's by himself. This inequality symbol does not change. Well, there's no decimal on 9, so I can put 0.0 if I need to, but really it's just 9 plus 3. Not 9 plus 6, that's wrong. It's 9 plus 3. Okay? So 0 plus 6 is 6. 9 plus 3 is 12. Oh man, Mr. V, we gotta do decimals? Yeah, nothing's changed. You know how to work with decimals now. Just means we gotta think about it. We gotta be smart about it. So first off, where does 12.6 live? Here's 12. And if I'm adding 0.6, I'm getting a little bigger. 0.6 is building it up. But it's not quite 13. So it's somewhere in the middle. So let's say 12.6. I'm gonna say 12.6 is right here. Oh, actually, it'd be a little. It's over half, isn't it? So let's put that right there. Let's say it's this one right here. So let's say that's 12.6. So let's say I'm marking down my number line. So you got to pay attention to where that's at. See, greater than or equal to. Equal to means this is a closed circle because that's equal to. And it could possibly, well, 12.6 is greater than m. Well, 12.6 is bigger than m. M is smaller. And this is where 0 is great. Is 12.6 greater than 0? Yeah, 0 is easy. 12.6 is greater than every negative also. Because negatives are tiny. Positives are always bigger than negatives. So I'm definitely going toward, m is definitely over here. Going towards the negatives. Hey, look, there's 0. Hi, 0. Now I'm doing my check. Is 9 greater than or equal to some number? I'm going to choose minus 3.6. 0 is a great number. Let's use it. I love using 0 because look, it's in the shaded area and makes it really easy. I'm going to add the opposite. What is 0 plus negative 3.6? When you're adding, this is the additive identity. 0 doesn't change anything. It's negative 3.6. Well, is 9 bigger than a negative? Absolutely 9's bigger. 9's positive. So, we're good. And that's all there is for solving inequalities. It's pretty straightforward. So, that is solving and graphing inequalities involving adding and subtracting. Like if we have to add or subtract, that's it. There's only one video on this. It's basically just, it's exactly like one-step equations. So I would go back and look at the one-step equations with integers video. That would be a good video to go review. And there you go. Have a great day. See you in class next time.